emphasized was prime numbers. But basically, just give a taste of the things that we could discuss later on, and how there seems to be a certain pattern of prime numbers in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and you can see them even overlap from the Old Testament to the New Testament. And so then, because there's a pattern, because you can see particular prime numbers being emphasized over and over again, that there was an intelligence behind the values coming up over and over again. Similar to an idea of, if I wrote a book, there'd be certain words that I would choose just because those are ways that I like to express myself. Those are particular words that I'm very comfortable with, and so I use them a lot. And that's very common in being able to try to decipher whether someone wrote a book or they didn't. So they'll look for certain words, certain phrases that person likes to use, as well as particular ways that they put together their sentences, and the way they express their thoughts. But so what I'm trying to express here is that in these prime numbers, you're seeing that there's an indication, a strong indication, that there was an intelligence behind their values coming up over and over again. So, to give a taste, prime numbers. What are prime numbers? Real quick, towards the bottom here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and say that out loud. Prime numbers. You can look it up. Google it. But a number that's only divisible by itself and by the number 1. First prime number, 2. Second, 3. Third, 5. Fourth, 7th. And so I'm going to talk about these 4 particular prime numbers in Learned Elders of Tamo. What's up, brother? So the last live stream, I saw you commented that you had barely seen it. Well, you don't need to watch it. I'm probably gonna delete it, or you can watch it if you want. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this part of what I'm discussing right now, turn it into a video, and then set it up. Beginning taste of prime numbers, something like that. Prime numbers in the first verse of the Bible. Oh, you already watched it. Okay, all right. So when you watched it, because of the lines of the paper, my phone just gumbled, just it was just all mushed together. And so here's the notes again. If anybody wants to pause it and look at the notes, right? I'm not going to show these notes too much. I'm going to try to write them right here on this little paint project thing. But basically, it's got to be thicker than that, doesn't it? Let's see, hold up. Let's make that bigger. Boom. Boom. Bait. Reish. Look, this is gonna be brutal. It's gonna be brutal. It's been a long time since I've actually done my Hebrew. So y'all just gonna have to, you can cut me some slack. Some of these I'm just kind of making up my own way of doing it, as well as what I was taught. So, remember watching the video you recommended by a teacher going over the subjects too? Very interesting. Yeah, exactly. So there is a video. There's a YouTube channel where I'm gleaming some of my ideas from, and a lot. I'll just say that, a lot of my ideas. But I'm gathering my thoughts from just all kinds of books that I've read. Different YouTubes, different people in my life, and I'm just trying to spit, just trying to put it onto a YouTube channel to express and show that Jesus really did write the Bible, and it's mind blowing that a lot of people don't care. But that's the way it is. That's the way he made it. He said he did it himself. He said that most people aren't going to walk in the straight narrow path. They're not. They're going to go their own way, and I mean that's just the way. It's the way it is. But however, there's nobody that can say that he doesn't love us. Nobody. Because of love, he allows us the options and the opportunity to do evil. How loving do you got to be when you're all powerful to the point where you can just snap your fingers, people can disappear, but you're going to allow them to continue to do the thing that you hate in hopes that you'll see that he loves them. That's a love way beyond my love. I would just smash, people into pieces, and of course that means I should be smashed into pieces. So I'm glad he loves us way more than love myself. No, I'm getting lost in my own thoughts. All right, so this is the first word of the Bible, Bereshit, or in English, in the beginning. And so what is really cool about the Hebrew is that it was almost a dying language. It's always stayed with a remnant of people throughout the ages, but then it really came alive in the last 50 to 60 years. And so here we have like a reimagination of what the letters should look like and what they should sound like. All that to say, these aren't the original way that they wrote the letters. The Paleo-Hebrew, it's pictures. They were done in pictures. So this is more a modern script of doing it. The Paleo-Hebrew actually in picture form gives you pictures to look at in the words, and in some ways makes it a lot easier, one, to learn the Hebrew, and two, to learn how to read it. Because these lines are not quite as indicative or expressive of what the letters are, while the picture forms give you a really good grasp of what the letter means and then what the words mean together. Because it's similar to like the Japanese and Chinese, where there's like pictures that they're doing in their words, and then so you can look at the picture and grasp the idea of what that word means, but based on the picture. It's a similar idea with Hebrew. Anywho, not to belabor the point too far, but if you have watched the previous video, like Learned Elders did, then there were 7 particular points that I had made. The first one being that there's 7 words. Bereshit being the first one. I'm gonna have to make this a little bit smaller. Bara being the second word. The third word, we're gonna go ahead and put it off to the side right here, or else I'm gonna run out of room. The third word is Elohim. That's an aleph, a lamed, that's a hey. It's a yud. And then this is a mem, but it's a mem sofit, so it looks funky. If you know what a mem looks like, it looks funky. But if you don't, then that's a mem. The fourth word is the popular et, or at least it's popular to me. And boom, that's the et. And then we have Hashemayim, which is Ha means the, and then Shemayim. Then I'm telling you, man, my Hebrew, I forgot the mem, but anyways, we're gonna call this mem the normal mem. This mem, the mem sofit meaning it's at the end. So that's when the mem's at the end, it has a different form to it, which we're gonna attempt to do again. Anyways, we're calling that a mem sofit. And then we have the, et, boom. That's an et again. The vav, aleph, tav, and then haaretz. Ha. I'm not describing this word because it's indescribable. There's no English way to express that thought. And it's basically a pointer to a direct object or a predicate nominative. Then haaretz, and aretz means earth. That's a reish, and then we're gonna call that tzadi sofit. Okay, all right. So there's 7 words. 7, it's a prime number. It is the 4th prime number. There are 7 words in the first verse of the Bible. This is gonna seem really simple because I'm starting off simple. This is an extremely simple concept. Prime numbers, just a number that's divisible by itself in 1. Boom, simple. All right, so we're gonna find that there's a lot of prime numbers that come up throughout the whole Bible. I expressed that at the beginning of the video. Not gonna say it again. I felt like saying it again. But the reason I wanted to say it again, the reason is because when I'm going through my notes here, these 7 notes, you're gonna think some of this is like happenstance or so what or big deal, and that's kind of the point I'm expressing here. Is just to give you a taste of, yes, this seems simple now, But the more and more we look into it, you're going to see that it is extremely deep. All right, anyways. So 7 words. 7 is prime number. 4th prime number. Number 2, the middle word. The middle word. So when I say middle, there's 7. So there's 3 words, and then a 4th word, which is et. Then there's 3 more words after that, right? So the middle word is this one here, the et. I'm going to put it in a different color. This one here, et. That's the middle word. That middle word is prime and it's even. Well, of course it's even. Yeah. So, the middle word is the 4th. The middle word is a prime. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So what was my point? That the middle word, the 4th word, has 2 letters in it. 2, which is the first prime number. Right? That was my point. It's the only prime number that's an even number because it is the number 2. All the rest of them are odd numbers, meaning that they're not even. I feel like this is super simple. Okay, so the big deal about this word is that, like, it's untranslatable, right? What we learn through the New Testament is that Jesus himself, Yeshua, says that he is the Aleph Tav. Aleph meaning the first letter, Tav meaning the last letter. He is the beginning and the end. He is in Greek, the first letter is the Alpha, the last letter is the Omega. He is the Alpha, he's the Omega. In English, you would say he is the A and he is the Z. He's the first and the last, the beginning and the end. And so that's that. So when you look for these particular lettering and the combination of those letters, you start to find some very interesting concepts that are being expressed by where it is placed. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief. I'm going to throw one out here. I'm going to at you. Okay, are you listening? Bereshit, first word. Bereshit. It means in English beginning or in the beginning. Bara, created. So I find just a little side note to my side note that I'm expressing. The first 3 letters of the first word is Bet Resh Aleph, which happens to be, just so it happens to be, the first 3 letters of the second word. The second word. All right. So you have Bara, and then Barashit, the beginning. The beginning of creation. So one idea you could express is that this is the beginning of creation. The beginning of his creating. The very first thing he created is the idea that you can get. It's something that you can just chew on and think about. Is what God trying to tell us is that the first thing he ever did, this is it. This is the first thing he ever did. Whereas sometimes you might think God has done stuff eternally in the past. He was doing a bunch of stuff, and then he decided to create the heavens and the earth, and this is a story of the creation of the heavens and the earth. Or is he trying to express here that the very first thing he ever did is the creation of the heavens and the earth? I posit to you to think about. Think about. Is that true? Is that what he's trying to express here? Anyways, second word, bara, means created. Third word, Elohim. This one tricks up a lot of people. Because Elohim actually means many powerful ones, mighty ones, or the plural for gods. And so it would be in the beginning created the gods. It would be like the English way of trying to express this thought. But in the English, generally in the Bible, it says in the beginning God created, right? For these first 3 words. And so, the thought that you really want to consider here is by Elohim. Elohim is something that he refers to himself in Scripture up to a certain point. It's like chapter 3, chapter 4, something like that. Then he starts talking about Elohim Adonai. It's like the combination of the words that he starts going into in the way that he's writing it down and expressing who he is and how we relate to him. And so one thing to consider here is that we do not believe, or we should not believe. You should not believe that you believe in multiple gods. Right? There's not multiple gods. There's one God. It's similar. The best way I can try to get you to understand this is that you are looking at an image of me on the. This is going to be very complicated. You're looking at an image of me on the internet from a video that's looking at the image, the body of me, but this is not really me, the physical body. This physical body is an expression of me, the spirit. And so am I the body? Well, my answer is yes. This is me. You're looking at this body, the image of me. Yeah, that's me. But if you get my spirit and you put it in another body, this body dies, that body comes to life. Because my spirit, his spirit, is giving it life. His breath is what made us living beings. So my point, and I'm getting back to it, because later in this chapter it says that he made man in his image. This is my image. This body is an image of me. We're made in his image. In other words, he's always looked like a man. He's not a man in the sense that he got created, but he's a man in the sense that we're carbon copies of him. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. So the image of God is what we look like. This body is a copy of what his body looks like. He's always had one. That's Jesus. Jesus always existed. But the body is given life through the spirit that's inside of it. Right? Now, then there's this whole other thought which gets very convoluted and confusing when we talk about the soul. The soul seems to be something that's outside of space-time. Inside of space-time, we're talking a body and a spirit. The spirit inside the body gives life. The body is like a temple to the spirit. But then there's this other thing that we seem to try to express and understand what's going on, and we call that the soul. So there's three parts of me is what I'm trying to express. I have a body, I have a spirit, and I have a soul. This comes about, and this is getting very complicated. I was going to keep this really simple. but I got to explain these things, or else people think we believe in multiple gods. This idea is fleshed out in the tabernacle. This idea is fleshed out in the temple. And this is some of the wordings that seem to be confusing about the way how Jesus talks when he's talking about him and the Father, and then they're one, and then there's a spirit. And so basically what you got to understand is that we're dealing with a being who knows how to communicate with himself from outside of space and time to inside of space and time. But we have the body, his spirit, and his soul. So the body, the physical, fleshly man, in all that God could be inside of a body, he is absolutely God. Then the spirit in the other dimension is also operating and doing things. So it seems like we're talking about two different beings. But we have a body that's inside of space and time. Then you have this spirit that's inside of space and time, but from a spiritual dimension. And then you have the soul, or what we'll call the Father, because the Father is what's really giving life to the spirit and to the body, or like in Transformers, the spark. However you want to think about it. That my soul is giving life to my spirit. That's my spirit is giving life to my body. So the Father is the soul, because I gave my son life. So his life came from me. So the soul is like a father to the body, which is the Son. You see what I'm saying? This is where these thoughts are coming from. People start thinking we believe in three different gods, and no, we don't. But it does seem like we're dealing with three different gods. Then you go further into this. In the book of Revelation, it talks about there's 7 spirits before the throne. There's 2 eyeballs that are full of eyeballs, and this is God going throughout all the earth looking through stuff. In Jeremiah, he's talking to himself, and himself interrupts himself to give himself a message, and he tells himself to go get himself because he wants to send him a message. So that's 4. He can express himself and manifest himself in all kinds of ways, and it feels like we're dealing with multiple gods, but we're not. We're dealing with one, just one being. And I could further complicate that with more thoughts, but this is where this thought is coming from, Elohim. Now, to really express that he was one, and I'm not fluent in Hebrew, but I looked this up recently, and I believe the word is aloha, would be the idea that he's just one by himself, one. And then to express it like if he was actually many is a different word to express the idea that he's not one but many. Whereas this idea implies it could be one, but it also could be many. Is this word here? I have to brush up my Hebrew again and look back at it. I wrote a letter to someone one day. Maybe I could get that back and read what I wrote in the letter. Anywho, so Elohim. I sometimes express myself and I talk to myself and I say, what are we going to do today? Anyways. Et is an interesting position that is placed here. So, Bereshit, in the beginning, Bara created the gods. Which gods created? The Aleph Tav. The Aleph Tav is the one who was in the beginning. He is this gods, the Aleph Tav. So this is we're talking about Jesus. Jesus is the Father. Jesus is the Spirit. Jesus is the Son. This is the Elohim right here, Aleph Tav. Okay, now before we talk about the heavens and the earth, Hashemayim va'et haaretz, before the wording of the heavens and the earth, so before the heavens and the earth is the Aleph Tav. So Jesus was there before the heavens and the earth. So if you ever wondered where in the New Testament the apostles are getting some of their wordings about Jesus was alive before, heavens and the earth, or if it's been prophesied since the beginning, things like that. I'm giving you glimpses of what I've been shown, and so that you can increase your faith and seeing that this is an extremely powerful verse. And then I'm actually thinking about making several more videos based on just the first verse of the Bible. It is extremely deep. And so I hope this builds up your faith. This is what I'm really hoping. So here we see in the Hebrew that Jesus was before the heavens and the earth. But we get a glimpse of this, which is really cool, that while he was before the heavens and the earth, he's also in space and time. He's also in the heavens and the earth. See, he is the Father. He is the Spirit. He is the Son. Jesus, the Aleph Tav. He was before the heavens and the earth. He's also in the heavens and earth. He's outside of space and time, and he's inside of space and time. Okay. So one cool thing to look at is the Vav here, which is the sixth letter of the Aleph Bet, which is not a prime number, but I'll get to that later. So, boom, the Aleph Tav, Hashemayim Haaretz. Then we'll talk about. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that later. All right, discuss that later. So, the second prime number is 3. There's 3 words before the middle word. There's 3 words after the middle word. Boom. For my fourth note, I have that 4 times 7 is 28, or 2 by 2 by 7. So 28. Let me try to remind myself here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. That's what I thought. Yeah, there's 28 letters in the first verse, which is divisible. So you would divide that by 4 by 7. Further, dividing the 4 by 2 and 2. So 2 times 2 times 7 is 28. And so then you have prime numbers. So what did I do? I got 28 and I divided it by the lowest common denominator. And that would be, first you would do 4 by 7. 7 is the lowest. 4 is not the lowest. So then 2 and 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2, and then 7 is 28. So you have 2, 2, and 7 prime numbers that come up with the total numbers of the letters in the first verse of the Bible. Fourth note. Fifth, let's see here. Oh, and there's also 14 letters before the middle word, and 14. Wait. The first 3 words have 14 letters. The first Oh, first three words have 14 letters, and the last four words have 14 letters. And both of that's divisible by 7. Again, like I said, this is real simple. I'm going to kind of go through that kind of fast because I was like, I mean, it's just super simple. It's super simple. 14, 2 by 7. 14, 2 by 7. It's 28 letters. Yeah. All right, so number 5. The words on each side of the middle word have 5. All right, so what am I saying? This one right here, Aleph Tav, is the middle word. The word before it, which is this one, Elohim, has 5 letters. The word after it, which is this one, Hashmaim, has 5 letters. 5 is the third prime number. And so there we are, 5. So now we have 2, 3, 5, and 7 that have come up in the first verse of the Bible. And my 6th one, second word. Okay, so then this one, the second word, which is bara, has 3 letters. And then the second to last word, which is this one, va'et, has 3 letters. Again, 3 is the second prime number, and there it comes up. So word has 3 letters. That has 5. Let's have 3 letters. Next to a word that has 5 letters. Okay, so then this one has 3, and it's next to one that has 5. This one's 3, next to one that has 5. So the second word is followed by a word that has 5 letters. The second to last word is preceded by a word that has 5 letters. So now we have 3 and 5 that have come up again in a combination of the wordings. My 7th note. Oh, wait. Let's see. Later we'll see that 8. Oh, right. Yeah. So 3 plus 5 is 8, and so the reason he was bringing that up is because. Excuse me. The reason that he was bringing that up is because 8 is a very common value that comes up in the New Testament using the Greek values of the letters similar to the Hebrew, in that 888 is the value for the number of Messiah. 7th is the first word, has 6 letters. Bereshit, this first word has 6 letters, which is 2 times 3, or 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 3 plus 3. So we have a combination of the first and the second prime numbers right there. And that was it. Really simple video. Y'all couldn't see the notes that I would have here. I'll show it again. It's hard to see. It's hard to see. But I did express the idea of the Holy Spirit. That's cool. The first letter of the Aleph Bet is actually the Bet and not the Aleph. The first letter is a Bet. Now, in the Paleo Hebrew, it looks kind of like an open mouth or a house. And so, interesting wording in the Bible talks about how Jesus is the mouth of God. He is the I see you doing the hearts and the smiley faces. Appreciate that. So the first letter is, being like a mouth, it says that Jesus is the mouth of God. So the second letter, the Bet, the first letter of the word son in Hebrew is Ben, is Bet, and then the word for son in Aramaic is Bar. So the first letter there is Bet again. So what we're indicating here is that the second one is the first that's visible, or the image of the invisible God. So my point, though, is that what the rabbis say, is actually right here before the Bet is an Aleph. It is an Aleph, but it's silent. It's an invisible, and so the first letter that makes a sound is the Bet. So the first letter that speaks for the alphabet is the second letter. So again, it's just fleshing out the idea that the second is first, or the sun is first. The visible image is the one that makes the sound, not the Aleph. The Aleph doesn't make a sound. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's neat. Gives y'all something to do. That's really neat. Right. And so that's something that's really neat to think about. All right. Yep. Boom. Last thought. And then, feel free to ask all the questions you want. Learn it. All the questions. Free. Give you free reign. Talk about whatever. is this right here? Is this one right here? The orange with the vav next to the et. Prophesied in the first verse of the Bible, if you're looking at the Hebrew, is that God himself, or the et, or Jesus, Messiah, the Aleph Tav, would need to be nailed between the heavens and the earth. So, anything. So you have Bereshit, Bereshit, in the beginning, Bara, created, Elohim, the gods. Et, which God? The Et, the Aleph Tav. Hashemayim, the heavens. V, Et, Haaretz, the earth. So the Vav is a conjunction. Here it's used as and. So, in the beginning, God created the heavens, Hashemayim, and the earth, Haaretz. But we have the Aleph Tav. So, in between the heavens and the earth, the Aleph Tav, Vav, in the Paleo Hebrew, this is like a hook or a nail. So, in between the heavens and the earth, the Aleph Tav would be nailed or hooked. Also expressing this idea. Okay, so boom, wow, that's cool. Wow, Messiah, Jesus is going to be crucified between the heavens and the earth. He would have to be raised up, as it says later. And then we get indications of that with the serpent that they had to look at to be healed, and which was interesting because it was a serpent. Because when you look into Psalms, you actually realize that the way the disease was spread was that fiery serpents came and actually poisoned them. And the disease actually spread from there, and there were scorpions and serpents, fiery serpents, and so they had to look at a serpent to be healed. But Jesus said, just like the serpent was raised up in the wilderness, so Messiah would have to be raised up for the healing of mankind. And so we see here prophesied that the Aleph Tav would have to be nailed between the heavens and the earth. Vav, in the Paleo Hebrew, it actually looks kind of like a Y. Kind of like a Y. This is kind of also, if you look at it slanty ways, it kind of even looks like a man raising his hands or something like that. And then so or the serpent's fallen angels. Yeah. So it's an interesting thought to look at and think about, because that would be the indication that I get. But let me finish this thought before I get to anything. So in here, this kind of like a man raising his hands, is that man actually can bring the heavens down to the earth. So God is a man that's bringing the heavens down to the earth. We're made in his image. We can also do the same thing. So the bridge between the heavenly realm and the physical realm is man himself, which it looks like I'm about to get a little bit of that with learned elders when it comes to the question he just asked. But that similar idea. Man is the conduit of bringing the universe together as one. And so boom, that's it. Thought done. Video over.